So major bombshells being dropped right now when it comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers in the quarterback room. A lot of controversy, a lot of question marks have been coming through the wire. Is it going to be Justin Fields? Is it going to be Russell Wilson? Is it going to be somebody completely brand new to the team? I've had my opinions for a while now. Some folks didn't like it. Some folks agree with me. I tend to believe that something's not going right between Justin Fields and the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't think that it's going to end up working out. I don't think it has anything to do with his ability, talent, or play, or what he was able to do or wasn't able to do with the Pittsburgh Steelers, as much as I felt that if the Steelers wanted him and he was their guy and they had an effort to push for him, that they would not allow him to speak to other teams and potentially be swayed to move on from Pittsburgh. Apparently there's a lot of rumors going back and forth that the holdup is the trust, right? That perhaps Justin Fields doesn't trust that the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to, you know, make him the starting guy or give him the keys to the Ferrari, so to speak, based on what happened last season, where the rug was pulled out of underneath him when he was 4-2, and then also apparently, per reports, that some, you know, coordinators perhaps or assistant coaches were wanting to stick with Fields or go back to Fields at the end of the year when Russ was struggling, but Mike Tomlin chose not to. All those things, which seem fairly accurate, things that I've heard, but money talks, and it's more than just a promise for the Pittsburgh Steelers. If they wanted to keep this guy, they can say, all right, not only are we going to say, hey, you're going to be our guy, well, you're going to get the starting position, you're in pole position, but we're also going to emphasize that with a paycheck. We're going to show you that we believe in you by giving you $20 million a year, et cetera, et cetera. The fact that he doesn't want to sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers probably means one or two things. Either they've not promised him the pole position by means of verbally and or also by financially, because those things are both going to have to happen in order for him to believe that the team is going to want to stick with him. And so my position has been and continue to be is that it's probably not going to work out with the Pittsburgh Steelers and Justin Fields. Now, who's going to be next? There's a lot of questions. And, well, Diana Rusney, she is a insider for The Athletic. She dropped a bombshell. About an hour ago, she dropped two tweets or posts on X, one stating that the Steelers remain interested in signing or re-signing Justin Fields per source. Should Fields hit the market, the Jets are expected to show strong interest in the 26-year-old. And then just moments later, she drops that the Steelers are expected to make an offer pending free agent Sam Darnold per source. Many around the league believe that Darnold will wind up in Seattle, but Pittsburgh is doing its due diligence on any potential options ahead of the new league year. So let's get into that. Sam Darnold. I think he's probably still going to go to Seattle. That's been the big word of mouth that's been going on ever since the Seattle Seahawks traded Geno Smith to the Las Vegas Raiders. If Sam Darnold was their guy, and that was like, we can go back to that scenario where this is your guy. If it was your guy, I would suspect that if they're going to trade their current guy that they have under contract, that they've handed the keys to already and have some sort of trust and built trust within. I know it's a new regime and it's a new coaching staff there in Seattle, but he's a guy that's familiar with the players in that building. If you're going to go into a different direction and your guy was Sam Darnold, then I think you would have probably have had that set in stone, even if the tampering period hasn't started. Obviously, these teams and players and agents are all talking about hypothetical things, which is why we are where we are today, a day before the tampering period is set to start, and yet it is expected that the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be offering a deal to Sam Darnold. Now, they wouldn't be doing that if they didn't have any idea of what kind of deal he may be looking at, what kind of options are out there for him. In my opinion, at least, you don't want to embarrass yourself and say, hey, while everybody's offering $20-30 million a year, here's $7. It's not a good look, in my opinion. So in the end, what could this be? Could it actually be that the Pittsburgh Steelers are that much interested in Sam Darnold. They don't care what Seattle's willing to do. They're going to put up their deal and their offer significantly higher to attract their guy. Is this their guy that they've been wanting? I don't know. Or is it potentially a guy that everybody already knows is going to go somewhere? Maybe perhaps the Steelers are going to lowball him. And the reason behind that is that they don't want him to sign, but they want to add a little bit of pressure to Justin Fields to say, hey, you may go and explore your options elsewhere, but we're going to do the same thing as well. We being the Steelers, and the Steelers going out there and saying, if they sign a guy, well, that ship has sailed. I mean, they can point to what they did with Justin Fields this past offseason with Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett, he said he didn't want to be there anymore, so they sent him out. Now, I understand he got a ring as a backup quarterback, and he threw the ball a couple times during the Super Bowl. Congratulations, Mr. Pickett. But at the end of the day, he didn't get an opportunity to be a starter, and he's not going to get an opportunity to be a starter unless there's some sort of injury that occurs there in Philadelphia. You want to be able to say, hey, look, that ship sailed. Once he said he was ready to rock and roll and go somewhere else, the Steelers got on the horn and they picked up Justin Fields and brought him in and let go of Kenny Pickett just as quick. So, I think this could be a little bit of pressure towards Justin Fields. I wouldn't be surprised. But then again, what if it's not? What if it is him? What if this is the guy? Just look at his entire career as a totality and compare it to this last season. All right, this is Sam Darnold's Pro Football Reference statistics. So in 2024, he played in 17 games. He was 14-3 as a starter, 66.2% completion, 4,319 yards passing with a 7.9 yards per attempt. He had 35 touchdowns to 12 interceptions. Overall, it looked like a very solid year, very good year as his first year with the team. You would expect him to take more steps forward. But let's look at his career. For his career, he's 35-38. Well, that 35 and 38 still counts that 14-3 that he had going into this past season. So going into this season, he was somewhere around what would that have been 21 and 35. I mean, that's a horrible record. He has thrown for 98 touchdowns to 68 interceptions. Again, that also includes the 35-12 that he had this past season. So going into the 2024 year, it really didn't look good for Sam Darnold. Maybe something clicked. I don't know, but let's look at his actual stats. Let's break it down year by year. His first year in 2018 with the Jets as a rookie, he went 4-9. And he threw for 17 touchdowns to 15 interceptions. The following year, he went 7-6, and he threw 19 touchdowns to 13 interceptions. The following year with the Jets, 2-10. Now let's just kind of look at the record. Now I know the record isn't a single player statistic; it's a team statistic, but your team goes as far as your quarterback's willing to take, or that's able to take. You're not willing, but is able to take you. All righty. So he went 2-10, 4-7, 4-2, 0-1. Not the best records there. I mean, it's a lot of top 10 draft picks that are going on here. Only a handful of years. I think there's 2 years there, 3 years where he had a record where he had more wins than losses. But for majority of the time, he has lost more times than won. Outside of this last year, obviously. Was it a fluke? I don't know. I mean, how hard of a schedule did he have? Those type of things you must, consider. The playoff game, he kind of reverted back to what he was. And so he makes you wonder, was what he was showing in the regular season, is that a hint of what he has and his potential to be and what he's capable of doing? Or was that just a one-year wonder? And how much are the Pittsburgh Steelers willing to pay for a one-year wonder? Sam Darnold is expected to be the most expensive or the highest paid. He is the number one free agent on every board when it comes to the quarterback position. This ain't the first time the Steelers targeted that player who was a top-rated draft pick who was coming off of a football team who didn't draft him, who maybe perhaps the Pittsburgh Steelers could turn around, and that's Mr. Trubisky, who was drafted by the Chicago Bears, I think, second overall. He ended up going to Buffalo for a year, and a lot of folks thought, hey, Buffalo Bills, they fixed him. Whatever it is that the Chicago Bears did, it's no longer there. The Steelers go out there, pick him up very early in free agency. I think it was throughout the tampering period as well. Pick him up, pull him in, and we all know how that story ended. It wasn't a very good picture here here for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I'm not saying that I don't want Sam Darnold or I don't want Justin Fields. I don't think that the market is very good. I think that regardless of who it is, it seems like the money and the offer that are being available to these players, or to at least Justin Fields, is one that's not a guaranteed promise that they're going to be the starter, and is one that is not that a guarantee that the Steelers won't look for a potential starter or a franchise guy in the near future. I think that either or, Justin Fields or Sam Darnold, especially Sam Darnold, is a placeholder. Whether it be for Tyler Shock, who I think is a player that the Steelers may be able to target in the draft and get after they go and get some of their defensive needs at the defensive tackle position. In the first round, maybe a running back in the second round, or a wide receiver, and then maybe target a Tyler Shock, or next year's draft where the quarterback position is supposed to be a little bit better of a draft class in the quarterback position. Or 4 quarterbacks, I apologize. So, Art Rooney, hey, he mentioned it earlier the last time he spoke, he stated that they were looking at potentially targeting a quarterback in the draft, whether it be in this year's draft or next year's. And I think if you're going after a Sam Darnold, you're not offering Justin Fields a lot of money, or giving him the incentive to believe that he's going to be the number one guy, or be given the opportunity to be the number one guy for years to come. Then I think maybe perhaps that's a clear indication that the Steelers, they got somebody that they planning on drafting. And I think in the end, it's probably going to be a combination of, is this a plan to pressure Fields into signing with the Steelers to say, hey, we'll sign somebody else and move on from you? Is this a thing where, hey, Justin Fields just does not want to be a Pittsburgh Steeler at this point, which I doubt. He made some statements that he wanted to be a Steeler. He made statements that he wanted to work with the offensive coordinator again, who had a lot of belief in him. I think that if he didn't feel that way and he had some sort of negative attitude towards the Pittsburgh Steelers or how things were handled, I don't think he would have made those comments. I don't think he would have made negative comments, but I don't think he would have made those positive comments and comments about wanting to come back so dearly. So I do think that there may be an offer that has been there, but that offer may not have been one that would have said any promise that he's going to be in the pole position, and or that the Steelers aren't going to go out there and draft a quarterback early in this upcoming draft or the next. Well, that's all I got for you guys. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think that this is an actual move for the new quarterback? Is Sam Darnold going to be it? Do you guys think that this is a pressure move to get Justin Fields to sign? Or what do you guys think? What are y'all's opinion? Put it in the comment section. Let me know. Please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe. Ring that notification bell. With that being said, I'm out of here. Until next time. Peace.